Up when we're live. Amen. I believe we're good to go. All right, we're good. Amen. How's everybody doing? Good. Most of you know that I had the opportunity to take the kids and the family to go see my father in Arizona. Most of you also know that whenever I used to go visit my father when Pastor Clark was around, he couldn't even wait for me to call him and tell him what the Lord did with the time that God allotted me down there. Because he always knows that no matter where we go in life, God is always working, is he not? It's kind of like just like the song that Kristen was just playing. We might not see him. We might not know what he's doing, but we know God is always at work. We were going to play a different song today for worship, but one of our computers upstairs is down, and that's why we don't have our projectors on today either. That's why I gave you all a piece of paper with the main scriptures that we're going to be looking at today. But this second song that I was going to play, in the message of the song, it really tied into the testimony that I have to share with you guys today. It's probably a song that you've never heard before. It's by an artist called Matthew West, and the name of the song is Do Something. Since we didn't get to hear it, I'm just going to read a little bit of the words of the song to you guys today. In the song, he says, I woke up this morning and I saw a world full of trouble now. I thought, how did we ever get so far down? And how's it ever going to turn around? So I turned my eyes to heaven. I thought, God, why don't you do something? I shook my fist at heaven and said, God, why don't you do something? And he said, I did. I created you. If not us, then who? If not me and you, then who? Right now, it's time for us to do something. If not now, then when? When will we see an end to all this pain? It's not enough to do nothing. It's time for us to do something. We are the salt of the earth. We are a city on the hill. We're never going to change the world by standing still. It's a beautiful song, and when we finish with service, I'll give you all a link to it to where you could go listen to the song on Facebook or on YouTube. But while we were in Arizona, we took the kids to this playground, an indoor playground. And while we were there, Amy said to me, why don't you go do something while I watch the kids? So I said, sure, maybe I'll go to the antique store that I like out here, and afterwards I'll go visit my dad. So I left, and as I was leaving, I just felt bad. I wanted to spend time with my family. I wanted to watch the kids play and enjoy themselves and make new friends. So as I was driving the car, I decided to turn around and go back to my family. But I knew I needed to stop and get gas. So I stopped to fill up before I got back. And if any of you have ever been to Phoenix before, Arizona, you'll notice that there's a lot of homeless people down there. People come from all over the United States down to Arizona because the weather's beautiful. At any gas station you go to, you'll see at least 6 or 7 homeless people sitting outside. So as I was leaving the gas station, I happened to pass by a car that had its hood open, and there were 2 older ladies sitting inside with tons of clothes and trash inside this vehicle. So I said to myself, no, I'm not going to get myself into this mess, and I drove away. I got back to where my family was, and I parked the car. And before I could even open up the door, I was overwhelmed with compassion for these people in this car. I sat in the car, and I prayed for them. I prayed that God would help them in some way. And after I was finished praying, God said, I do want to help them. Now go and use the abilities that I have given you to help them. So I drove back to the gas station. I asked them if they needed help. They said, yes. Our car warning light is saying that the oil change is required, and we're not sure what we need to do. So I explained to them that this is just telling them that they hit that mileage marker where they need to get their oil changed, and it's nothing to worry about because it's not a warning light. kind of relieved some of their worries. But I could tell they were still worried. So I decided to check the oil for them, just to show them that it's okay and that it's filled properly. But when I checked it, I found that it was over 2 quarts low on oil. They barely had any oil on their dipstick. I explained to them that they should get an oil change now, since they had no oil, and what oil left was in the car is already old. And that's when the ladies told me, Vivian and Nancy were their names, that they were on their way back to Sacramento, California. They were driving from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, after going to a family reunion. Vivian was 73 years old and she could barely walk. And Nancy was 76. She walked really well, but unfortunately her mind was failing her and she couldn't handle situations like this. Of course, being several hundred miles away from home, they now became even more worried. It just so God happened, and if you don't catch that, I say it just so God happened, because it's not it just so happened. We know God made it happen. It just so happened that where they stopped, there happened to be a Jiffy Lube right at the corner. So I told the ladies, there you go to Jiffy Lube, get your oil changed. You don't even have to get out of the car, because the lady had a hard time walking. They asked me, how much would it cost? And not knowing, I said, hold on, let me call Jiffy Lube and find out. They said the oil change was going to be $55.99 plus tax. And as I told it to the ladies, they about fainted. They said, we can't afford that. We didn't budget this into our trip, and Social Security doesn't pay us until the end of the month. And as they were saying that, God reminded me that I just so happened to have $64 sitting in my pocket, which normally I don't carry any cash. I use my card for everything. So I gave the money to the ladies, and I told them, don't worry. Go get your oil changed.